Fill up.
I drink your milkshake.
You are listening to the Billionaire Podcast Network.
Moving my bones, no place to rest. Traveled up north just to find my head. I'm still cornfed. Cornfed. Moving my bones, no place to rest. Traveled up north just to find my head. I'm still cornfed.
Welcome to Lost in the Maze number 17. This is the solo show only on the Billionaire Podcast Network. Ka-ching, bing, 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 dee filler up. Welcome. Thank you for joining me, folks. I know I'm really late on this one. I've been slacking. I've been busy with a lot of stuff. I'm pausing God fucking damn it. Dude, I don't know what's going on with this computer. Like it's a it's a stolen Mac. I'm on a Mac, and there's this fucking goddamn notification that keeps popping up. Like the settings, it's like a settings window that is supposed to be loading something, and it just never loaded. It's just never loading. So the window's always there, and I don't know how to make it go away. But I click on it and it pops up. Like I'll get a notification on the screen, and then I click X to make that go away. But when I click X, this fucking like system settings window pops up, and then it's just the spinning wheel. And it's been that way for fucking weeks, and I don't know what it's trying to load, and I don't know how to make this go away. Oh, nothing ever works. That's the thing, is nothing ever works. And it's like I don't know how anything works. Okay, fair. That's fair. I don't know how anything works. My forte, my purview is in wit and whimsy and communications. So as far as the actual material world, technology and infrastructure and just anything that exists to be used as a system, don't know how any of it's built or how any of it's made. And that's fair. But as a consumer, as somebody who in my time fulfills my duties to society, I play my part and collect a paycheck for doing so, and then I take the money I've made and purchase a product. I would hope that, given the number of hours of my labor it took to be able to afford that purchase, or at least to qualify for a line of credit so that I can borrow the money to get it, I would hope that the thing I'm buying is, has a some quality control, that this is going to work for years and years and years without any issues. And that is just not the case anymore. It hasn't been for some time. You buy a piece of technology, and I mean, it's just well, I mean, I guess I might get a good year or two out of this, and then it's just going to start going tits up and shitting the bed and becoming just a pain in the ass fucking headache nightmare to deal with, to the point where I just got to buy a new one, right? Rather than have to try and like navigate this thing anymore, or try to fix it, or figure out like sort of troubleshooting or diagnostics I need to do to fix it. There is no fixing it. No, the solution is just go to Best Buy or whatever wherever you go now, and buy just a brand fucking new one. And so you're caught in this eternal cycle, this spiral of every year or two just spending thousands of dollars on consumer electronics. Um, this is nothing new. Everybody knows that it's what do they call it? Planned obsolescence. But you know what? Here's the thing about that. If we all know that, none of us like it. We're all fed up with it. And that would be such an easy protest on the consumer side of things to deal with. Like we could really put our fucking heels on the necks of these companies to a degree in some way, by just refusing to play along. Just like I have this iPhone. What model is this? The fuck if I even know. It's an older one. It's like a 12, I think, and what they're on the 15 now. And so everybody knows that they come out with a new one like every year, and every single time, like everybody has all their issues with this fucking product. But then every single year they come out with a new one, and so many people have to purchase it. It's a status thing that I can't be seen with last year's iPhone model. Um, First and foremost, on the consumer end, it's a status thing. It's like fashion. There's fall fashion, spring fashion, this here and that year, and then they do it with iPhones where it's like, oh, you got the one with just the two cameras. I got the one with three. I got the one with the big ass screen. And then you're seen as low income or not doing too well if you have last year's iPhone. If you have this wondrous piece of technology in your pocket, you're fucking poor. If you got the 12 with the two vertical cameras, which works fine. It works, I mean, as far as the planned obsolescence thing goes, I mean, the battery only lasts like a fucking hour before I got to charge it. But the phone works fine. All the dumb little videos I make, all the titty videos and dick reviews and just things I want to do quickly on my phone. That's what I used to do it. And ain't nothing highfalutin happening. I'm not using any fancy editing technology. Everything I need to do, I can do with pretty bare bones basic ass technology because I'm talented. That's another thing, I guess, is I don't need a whole lot. You know, I got my wits, I got my faculties here, my witty repartee, and I can ride on that. I hop in that car and push the pedal to the floor, and we're away, taken to the streets. There a lot of people need to use fancy tricks and smoke and mirrors to make themselves seem not as fucking boring and untalented as they are. uh it works for them. That's so much of content on the internet, right? Is you're just watching a YouTuber who is doing kind of the same thing I do here, which is just talking, but they don't have the ability to do what I do, which is actually hold a thought in their head and just try and run with it in some way that's interesting and engaging. Um, they're probably not even capable of original thought, and they don't know how to communicate. They have no communication skills even, but they want to make a 1 to 2 hour, 3, 4, 5, 6 hour video where it's just them talking. It's just them sitting there broadcasting basically, and it's edited. I've maybe I've talked. I don't think I've talked about this here before, but like those, I can't watch most of what's on YouTube because the way this shit's edited is like a fucking Bourne Identity movie where it'll be a guy just sitting there doing what I'm doing now, talking, and every like 3 seconds there's a cut. So he'll just be talking, and then there's just a cut for no reason, and it's very jarring. Like I'm watching it, and it feels like I'm being like sent some message. Like if you were actually schizophrenic or paranoid or conspiratorial in any way, and you're watching a video where there's just constant cuts, where it's like this max headroom kind of like jumpiness that's happening. You know, if you were already on the edge mentally and you're watching shit like that, you'd be like, what is this some kind of coded language? Is this like, um, am I supposed to be reading into this? But it's not. I don't know. I think it's just designed for like fried brains, the fried brains that exist now, or so it's got, there has to be a psychology behind it, because you guys know what I'm talking about. The and I don't think, by the way, I don't think it's anything that anyone is looking for on the consumer side, on the audience side. I don't think anyone was ever asking for anyone to make things this way, where with these constant cuts and edits and jumps, this very like frantic, you know, this frantic style of making things. I don't think anybody was asking for that. I think they figured out some weird psychology that if you create this like frazzled, frantic video in that way, where it's just constantly cutting and editing, then it like tricks people into watching it, even though it's not that good. Maybe, yeah. I guess it will. There might be like some sort of hypnosis happening in like making something that way. I don't know. I can't watch it. It drives me up the wall, and it makes me feel like I'm delirious. Like it's this delirious method of broadcasting that I guess is born from the fact that whoever this is making this is incapable of, thinking and communication. They don't have good communication skills. They're not a particularly talented orator, and so by necessity they have to do multiple just tons and tons of takes, and then edit this thing together in some way to make it seem like it's worth watching, even though it's a like a 9-hour video about Ned's declassified school survival guide or some bullshit like that. Just one of the many retrospectives on a television show that was made for children 15 to 20 years ago. People can't escape the trappings of nostalgia, it seems like. Nostalgia is a tricky thing. I've been feeling it lately. Nostalgia for the things I enjoyed as a youth, the things I missed out on, the things I was reluctant to enjoy at that time that I wish I had taken the time to savor. A lot, all that stuff. I try to avoid it. I try to not get too involved in nostalgia. I try to avoid that trap, because the past is the past, and there's no reclaiming it. There's no going back. There's nothing, literally nothing that can be done. So the only option is to push forward, is to move forward. But every now and then I find myself thinking about it, and what the hell? Oh, oh my god. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. There was something behind me just scared the shit out of me. But yeah, with nostalgia, it can be painful. Youth is gone. The years start coming and they don't stop coming, and then one day you die of alcoholism. That's what can happen. I guess it's just a reminder that the clock is ticking. I suppose that at one point in time you know, you're 13, 14, 15 years old, you're a teenager. There's so much hope, so much life in your eyes. Bright, bright, bright future. The possibilities are endless. Endless summers, even each summer just is so magical. And so everything at that time is so fresh and new, and it's made for you. Everything in this country is created for the youth, for children, and I suppose young adults as well. Uh, so even though we all experience a certain amount of anxiety and malaise and growing pains at that time, it's pretty sick. You have no responsibilities, and you're just chilling, having a good time. Maybe getting laid. If you're me, no, that's not happening. You're very sad about that. You're very sad about how isolated you feel, and it seems like no one wants to give you kisses. But you can comfort yourself with programming blocks of children's television and pop music, toys, and video games. And then as you get older as an adult, you start to look back on that time and the culture that existed at that time. It's easy to get lost in that and feel that pain to try and reclaim that which is gone forever. Um, and so I guess that's all to say. I've been thinking about Crash Bandicoot a lot lately. I've just been really thinking about Crash Bandicoot lately, pretty hard. Yeah, one of the happiest times of my life was PlayStation. The PlayStation One was out, and I had Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot Two had just come out, and I was just having a real. I know why I was thinking about. I saw that yesterday was Clancy Brown's birthday. Incredible guy, character actor, Clancy Brown, who you've seen in tons of movies. He was the drill instructor in Starship Troopers. He was one of the guards in Shawshank Redemption. He's in everything, and he's also pivotal to our youth. If you're a certain age, he is still. I think it's still on. He's the voice of Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob SquarePants, and he's also the voice of Dr. Neo Cortex from Crash Bandicoot, which I didn't know. I did not know that. I was rooting around his Wikipedia page when I found out his birthday was yesterday, just seeing what he had done. And I did not realize that one of the great guys of Hollywood, of the entertainment industry, Clancy Brown, um, is the voice of Dr. Cortex. And then, I just kind of fell into a daze thinking about those days, just booting up Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. I never did at that time. I never did get into part one that much because that was a much more difficult game than two and three. It was brutal and it could be unforgiving at times. Um, and it wasn't as cinematic, I think, as two and three. There wasn't any real voice acting that much. It was just pretty standard platformer. Wasn't bad. I played it since then, but I remember at that time thinking it was a really difficult, kind of inaccessible game for a child at that time, at least for me then. But I mean, part two, whoo, that was a fun one. That was a fun time. I think what they really figured out with part two, where they really nailed it, collectibles, which would portend doom for my generation. That the uh what they the way they got us hooked on collectibles as children was a harbinger of the great misery that would befall my generation, that is collecting a bunch of goddamn shit, uh, like Funko Pops and vinyl records and books and Blu-rays, and even in the stupidest ones, like old technology. People that collect like laser discs and laser disc players and all this old vintage shit. It's just so it gives me so much anxiety too. Like I've come around on them. I like that that podcast where those two guys, those two like comic book nerds talking about like movies and shit they like. Like one of them wears a hat and the other one is wearing like a Spider-Man hoodie or something. And they always have these like very seemingly like soy boy Marvel opinions about movies, but also it seems like they're trolling. Like people get so fucking pissed off at these guys. I think it rocks. But that's just an example where it's this show, like these clips pop up and I'm looking around at the room they're in, and that room is just filled with so much fucking shit. Just like Funko Pops and swords and posters and all this like just plastic and collectible shit. And that's like so many people of I like my generation is just owning a bunch of fucking plastic and junk and all that. And I can see the appeal. Collecting shit is fun. It's fun to hoard things and say that I own this and that, but it also it gives me like so much anxiety when I see that, and gives me anxiety in my own life just having a bunch of shit that I gotta like keep up with. And if anytime I need to move, I gotta like carry all this with me. No, the life of a man should be one of minimalism and mobility, nomads. Okay, I've always said if it wasn't for pussy, if it wasn't for men just trying to attract women and appeal to women, that I think most men, the ideal situation for most men would be um just small, reasonable apartment, TV on the floor, every TV on the floor, a lawn chair in front of the TV, mattress on the floor, and then like in your kitchen, you have one plate, one bowl, one cup, knife, fork, spoon. Um, and then it's the 21st century, so you'd also have a cell phone and a computer, and that's the ideal setup for most men. That way you're comfortable, you got a place to sleep, but you're light, you're mobile, you're not shackled to any one place too bad. Where if you anytime you need to pack up and go somewhere, it's easy, you can grab all your shit. And the mattress on the floor thing, I stand by wholeheartedly, no matter what. I don't understand why I gotta have a goddamn fucking bed frame. I don't know why that's a requirement for every woman out there, that they if they want to have, if a woman wants to have sex, it has to be on stilts. I don't know what's wrong with mattress on the floor. It's how the Japanese do it. Bushido, the way of the samurai. You tell me if you were in Japan, you wouldn't fuck a salaryman pulling in how many yen makes you rich? Like a billion? Like is a billion yen like $100,000 a year? Anyway, bitch, you telling me if you were in Japan and you met a nice salaryman pulling in a billion yen a year, that you wouldn't fuck him on his floor mattress? Get out of town. You don't want to fuck me on my floor mattress because I'm white. But I still live the way of the samurai. It's a code of honor, it's a code of ethics, and it's one of sacrifice. Yeah, yeah, that's why I'm bald and I sleep on a mattress on the floor. I'm not bald. I'm not. But samurais for samurai is I think the plural of samurai is still samurai. You wouldn't say samurais. Realize samurais. Yeah, but for some reason samurai are all have like really fucked up hairdos. That was something I couldn't stop noticing watching Seven Samurai. I was like, damn, dude, these guys' hair is fucked up. Just like bald in the middle, hair on the sides, or the one. I mean, the one main one, the sort of leader of the Seven Samurai, the one who's the most honorable. He just shaves his head, which looks good. But then, like all these other ones with these like fucked up haircuts, I'm like, man, what are y'all even like? Y'all ain't even trying to get pussy. But I don't know. I don't know how they do things over there in Japan. That's a good movie. Uh, I'll be the first to say that Seven Samurai is a pretty good movie. It's long and it can be boring if you're trying to watch from home. I think old movies like that are better served on the big screen. If you're lucky enough to have a repertory theater wherever you live that will screen older movies, that's a real nice experience. And I think it's it is the best way to watch older films like that. It is more immersive and it's just a better viewing experience and it's easier to engage with it. It's a more fulfilling way to engage with the movie. Um, and I don't know what it is like if I because what I watching a movie like that at home because I had the like the Criterion Blu-ray of Seven Samurai. This was like a few years ago, and I was just like, I'm gonna finally watch this movie. Like, it's on every list of some shit you gotta watch before you die. And I've never like taken the time to watch it because it's like 4 hours long. And I was like, I'm gonna finally sit down and watch this. And it is a challenge to sit at home watching a movie like that on your TV, surrounded by all of the distractions and creature comforts of modern existence. It can be difficult to focus on it. And that's not because I don't appreciate that level of filmmaking. Killer Soul. It's not because I don't appreciate it or can't see the value in it. Um, it's just tough to concentrate on something at home, especially something like that really requires your like attention and your focus, and your like willingness to engage with it meaningfully. It was also a style of filmmaking that doesn't really exist anymore. Just long shots, just like holding the camera on something and just leaving it there and letting things play out. Lots of dialogue and it's a story that's being told. And you have to really become absorbed with it. And so it's tough to watch it at home, but I got through it. I watched the Blu-ray, and I'll say that Seven Samurai is a pretty good movie. Um, and if you were to ask me what is Seven Samurai about, I can't tell you. I don't remember. I just know I just got a feeling. I just remember it. I remember it emotionally. I remember emotionally that it was awesome and it's a good movie. There's the one guy with the big ass sword. I liked him. I enjoyed that movie. I also enjoyed the other one of his movies I've watched, Rashomon, which is referenced in many different TV. I knew it as a sitcom trope prior to ever watching Rashomon or knowing that there was even a name for this, the Rashomon trope. I just remember sitcoms would always do that. Like there would be an episode of a sitcom where like some event happened where it's like who set the damn couch on fire, and then the episode would be going through each character, and you would see like a recanting of the events that caused the couch to catch on fire from the point of view of each one of the characters. And I've seen that played out. I would always it was something I would see in sitcoms all the time. And then I remember one day I found out that it was called like Rashomoning, or it was like the Rashomon trope. I was like, the fuck is Rashomon? And Turns out it's a movie by Kurosawa, where I guess he was the first guy to ever do that, where it's like, what if something happened and then we just uh played the some version of that happening 4 or 5 different times from the perspective of 4 or 5 different characters, and that's the movie. It's a good movie. Another one that if you were to ask me what it's about, can't remember, but I remember it emotionally, and I understand it as a trope of TV and film. I don't remember things that well. I just remember them in my heart. And then if I revisit something and watch it enough times, then then I can remember the finer details. I probably have like most of Office Space memorized. If you want to, I've watched that movie a lot. Which it's weird, by the way, that's such a classic, like beloved movie, and one of my favorites, and like one of the funniest movies of all time. That actor, Ron Livingston. Now, who am I to talk about careers in the entertainment industry? That's for sure. You're lucky enough to get one if you can have one in any capacity. But man, he really had a dog shit career after that. You would think, being in this like beloved cult classic movie, that he would go on to become like some sort of like comedic actor, but like star comedic performer in TV and film. And no, the breakout star of Office Space was Jennifer Aniston. Um, and I mean, shit, I think like maybe probably Diedrich Bader has had a better acting career than Ron Livingston, right? Who else was in that movie? John C. McGinley. Yep. I would say he's more recognizable. Gary Cole. I mean, he's a guy, another beloved character actor. Um, anyway, I don't know. Yeah, Ron Livingston really did not have the career you think. I mean, he's had a good career for sure. He was in that Flash movie that came out recently. He played the Flash's dad. That was fun. Uh, he's in some dumbass show I watched on Amazon about like just a whiny, cranky Gen X, curmudgeonly Gen X fucker. Some, I guess all the like entertainment brothers are splitting up. Like the Coens split up, the Safdies just split up, and there's a show on Amazon called Louder Milk that is created by just one of the Farrelly brothers. So it's a show created by Peter Farrelly. The Farrelly brothers who did like Dumb and Dumber, and there's something about Mary, like all those movies. There's a show on Amazon called Louder Milk with Ron Livingston and Will Sasso, and they both give like pretty good performances in the show. It's not the funniest show out there, and it can be like really cringe at times because it's just from the perspective of just like an aging Gen Xer who's kind of like a loser, and also kind of stuck in time and very cynical and negative. And so he just has these like Dennis Leary ass encounters where he's like, what is coffee nowadays? I mean, what's going on with it? And it's like, I mean, you guys should be on board with whatever they're doing with coffee now. That's been going on too long. You can't possibly still have a gripe with cold coffee or pumpkin spice or whatever there is. That can't be something that's really still sticking in your craw. Everybody loves cold coffee now. It's good. I've always enjoyed. Here's my thing about coffee. I've always enjoyed cold coffee because the for me coffee is literally just a caffeine delivery system. I do not care about the nuance and intricacies and subtleties of a cup of coffee. I'm not drinking it for taste ever. I don't like if I want a delicious beverage, I'll drink a Coca-Cola or a sweet tea or just like 100 other things before I turn to coffee as something where I'm looking to enjoy a tasty, delicious beverage. It's just a drug for me. And so cold coffee has always been the best way to get it in me because I could just chug it real fast. I ain't got to sit there with with my cup burning my hands, blowing on it. Um, I never enjoyed hot coffee. Just pour it on ice so I can fucking slug this thing and then just sit and bounce my knee at my desk and shaking my leg, just anxiously watching the clock, wondering, how many years am I going to have to do this? Just when can I fucking go home and rest my weary head? This is going to be my life forever, just day in, day out, every morning, pounding coffee, driving to work, or just in morning rush hour traffic, completely just fried by the time I even get there because the traffic was so stressful. Clocking in, having to be cordial to all these people I don't even really know, and then do some job that provides no meaning for my life other than a source of income and stability, which is not something to be taken for granted. And it's certainly a blessing to have work and to have an income and be able to pay your bills. But it feels like I'm not really doing anything in this life of any real substance or meaning. I feel so empty and unfulfilled and lost, rudderless in my own life, as though I'm merely observing my life than participating in it. And is it gonna be this way forever? Is it just gonna be decades and decades of this and 401k contributions, and then I retire at 65? And who retires? I mean, poor people retire. People who are doing some shit they don't want to do that they've been doing forever, and it's they, finally they can just live the rest of their lives on their measly nest egg and maybe some government benefits that are going to come in. That's who retires. People who are enjoying life, doing work they really want to do, and actually have money, they don't retire. They work forever. Look at them. Everybody who followed their dreams and made their dreams come true, they work until they drop dead. Um, Nothing's stopping them. They don't want to retire. Some do, and that's fine if they want to, but most people are really having a good time. Don't retire. No, retirement is for the poor. It's for lower middle class, poor middle class people who just hate their job. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel that if you really stick with your job and bust your ass and work hard and save up some money, then when you turn 65, you can just stop working. And it's not that you're necessarily going to feel fulfilled or have any meaning in your life or joy, but at the very least, as a consolation for all your decades of service to an unending labyrinthine enigmatic machine, the goals of which are a complete mystery. To what end the gears of this machine keep turning, we do not know. In your service to that machine, you can kick your feet up and waste away in your final years and then die. And then your family has to spend what little retirement money is left on your funeral. And you bequeath nothing to the next generation. That's just how that's how I feel every morning out after a cup of coffee while I'm at work. So sort of. That's kind of where my mind is at a lot of the time. That's what coffee does to me, but keeps me alert, keeps me like focused as I'm waiting for calls to come in. That's what jobs are now, just sitting at a desk and either answering emails or taking phone calls. And in the world we live in now, where every job is just some version of sitting at a computer, I mean, I might as well be just a peasant, in the coal mines, because I actually have to take phone calls. I'm not lucky enough to have a fake email job. I didn't get lucky enough to be able to have a job where I just open a laptop and answer a few emails. No, I actually have to wear a headset and take some calls, which I think these days counts as pretty hard labor. So I'm really busting my ass out here. But I'm trying. Man, I don't know where we're headed. That is kind of the takeaway from Office Space, though. Is he just felt so meaningless in his own life, and then by the end of the movie, he's working construction and seems pretty happy. So maybe man was put on this earth to get his hands dirty and to toil around and do some hard labor. It's just that that work don't pay for shit ever. Even like all these like journeyman fucking tradesmen who've been doing it for decades are like, well, Tar Nation, I'm a master welder and I make $300,000 a year. And it's like, how many years did it take you to get to this point? And after everything you've been put through and sacrificed, you're only pulling in $300,000 a year, which, it's perspective is everything. That's a good chunk of money. But I mean, Jesus Christ, for somebody who's with such a valuable skill set, that's all you're capable of making. Do you know how much money you could make doing videos of you eating in your car? Are you out of your fucking mind? You're out here risking life and limb, doing welding or whatever the trade is, and you don't even realize that if you just go to a Popeyes and film yourself eating a chicken sandwich in your car, you can make so much more money because that's what's valued is content and entertainment and personality and wit. That's I mean, but that's the secret sauce. That's the key, right? Is you have to have a personality worth paying attention to. And most of these guys are drips, just absolute fucking bores, miserable people to be around. Not all of them. Some of the funniest, best, most entertaining people I've met work in trades, and they're just really down to earth and hilarious. And you get about 30 to 40 natural lights in them. It's a good time. But I've met tons of people that do that kind of work, and they're just miserable fucking fucks that are so unpleasant to be around. And they have that awful, awful attitude that's like, life is suffering. I suffer. You should suffer. We all suffer. And my suffering's better than your suffering because for my suffering, I make six figures a year doing what I do. And I'm happy. I derive some sense of fulfillment in the fact that my life fucking sucks and I get paid six figures for my life to suck. It's like, okay, all right, pal, have fun doing some shit you don't even seem to really enjoy doing for fucking, a drop in the bucket compared to what you could be making if you just put a fucking smile on your face and do a video essay on Lizzie McGuire or something. I know this is man. I know this has been kind of a lower energy one. I had trouble sleeping. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning right now. I couldn't sleep, and then I realized I have not put one of these out in like over a week. I think it's been like 2 weeks, hasn't it? I know we had the holidays. Come on, we had New Year's. Um, but I just figured, man, I gotta go record something, put something in the can, get some content out there. Been doing a lot lately. I mean, there's no, if you follow the channel, you certainly see what I do. So it's not like there's any shortage. But I mean, people have reached out and told me they enjoy this particular program, the Lost in the Maze, where it's just me ranting and rambling to myself, trying to think of things to talk about. And that's nice. I guess that's flattering that I'm entertaining enough just sitting in a chair by myself that a couple hundred people every week want to tune into that. But it is just like, man, what am I going to talk about by myself? And how do I not burn through all the stuff I want to talk about with other people? And so these are just kind of crazed raves and rants that yeah, I have no clue where the structure is in this. But I had to get something in the can. I do appreciate everybody that's been subscribing. That is cool, and there's a bright future ahead for myself and all of us. The goal I was taught, I was talking to somebody about this earlier. The goal really is to keep building the channel, building the network, the Billionaire Podcast Network. Ka-ching, bing, 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 dee, fill her up, and then get to a place where like I'm stable enough and making enough money that I can really invest in Warhammer 40K. I was thinking about, that's kind of what I want to do with my life is wherever this life takes me is just get to a place where I'm comfortable enough and secure enough that I can really go all in on Warhammer 40K. It always looked fun. It always looked it's always looked like it's extremely my shit, and it's a good combination of kind of the best of both worlds. Because I always thought D&D was interesting, it was promising, but what the actual game is, I find to be tedious and just unrewarding. Because there's no sense of completion. It's just meeting up with your friends week after week. It's just D&D is just like, what if hanging out with your friends had rules? And but it also but there was also no winners or losers. There was no like defined game that's being played, just being made up as you go along. But I like the RPG aspects of it, the role playing and all that. So Warhammer 40K always seemed like a good combination of the role playing stuff and then an actual game happening that can be finished. And then, I remember going into a games workshop for the first time and realizing this is one of the most fucking expensive hobbies I've ever seen. How is anybody doing this? But it seems to be very popular, and people are into it, and it's got a loyal fan base, and I think the Games Workshop, whoever makes Warhammer, is making plenty of money. They got good publicity. I mean, that fucking Henry Cavill dude, the guy who plays Superman, he loves Warhammer 40K apparently. Yeah, but that's the goal. I just want to get really into Warhammer 40K. It looks sick, and I was reading up on it, just like what Warhammer 40K is, and I was like, yeah, this sounds fucking dope, dude. Just like grim, bleak space future where just like nothing good ever happens, and it's just total war all the time. Um, and the human race is just surrounded by the remnants of technology they never were able to advance because of the proliferation of war. So they had to focus all of their efforts on war rather than advancing any of their technology. So everything is, just old, kind of deteriorating tech, and the human race is just sort of staving off its own doom as much as it can, but is delaying the inevitable. Um, the emperor of man of the human race may or may not even fucking exist. There's a lot of lore. I tried reading one of those books like a few years ago, and I think I lost the book. But there's a tons of Warhammer 40K books. I tried reading one called like the Horus Heresy, like the first one, and I got like halfway through. It was actually like pretty good sci-fi writing, I think. But then I was looking it up and I found out it's like a prequel series, so it takes place like 10,000 years before Warhammer 40K, and it's a prequel series of books, and it's still going. And so far, there are 63 of them. And that's just the prequel series. That's not including all the other fucking Warhammer 40K books that are out there. So I don't know what's going on with this. I didn't realize how deep Warhammer 40K goes. Um, but that's my dream. That's my dream these days is to make enough money, bounce back on my feet, make enough money that I can get, have some stability, build a nice life for myself, and then really get fucking into Warhammer 40K, painting figurines, hanging out with my boys, doing battles, reading the books. I want to go fucking all in on this shit. Um, and you might be asking yourself, Dalton, what about pussy? Here's the thing: pussy's a hassle. It's difficult, to riz up a girl, as they say. And I would say, in terms of overall joy and fulfillment, I think I would find Warhammer 40K to give me those things more than pussy. perhaps. Think about it this way. Think about what you get out of a nice hobby like Warhammer 40K versus pussy trying to get laid. If I go, because there's a high barrier of entry for pussy. There's a lot of prerequisites and things you got to take care of first before you can start getting pussy. So if I go into a bar, it's very exclusive and inaccessible pussy, right? So if I go into a bar and I go up to a woman and I say to her, "Hey, can I have sex with you?" I've already fucked up. She's gonna say more than likely she's gonna say no. She's gonna get upset, and it'll be an issue. And if I keep doing that throughout the bar, a lot of women will probably say no. If I play the numbers enough, maybe one will say yes. But if it becomes enough of an issue and everyone in the bar realizes that there's just some guy going around asking all the women if he can fuck them, then I'll probably get thrown out of the bar, right? But if I go into a games workshop or some game store that does Warhammer 40K stuff, and I just go up to anyone in the place that does Warhammer 40K, and I go, "Hey, can I play Warhammer 40K with you?" They're gonna be stoked. Of course, they want to play. And if I say something like, I'm nervous, I've actually never done this before, even better for them. They get to share this thing they love and care about so much with someone new, and show it to them for the first time and get to see the light in my eyes as I experience this thing that they've devoted so much of their time and love and energy toward. Whereas if I go to a woman and I'm like, I'm nervous, I've never done this before, she looks down, she's mad, she's upset. She's like, she doesn't have that same kind of wonder, which they should. I mean, if you're a woman and a guy goes up to you and tells you like, "Hey, can I have sex with you? I'm nervous. I've never done it before, but I really want to do it." You should be thrilled that you get to share your pussy with that guy and be the first time that he gets to experience this and just see the joy and fulfillment that this experience brings him. But there's no woman that feels that way ever. They want someone who just already knows what they're doing and understands it. And that's so topsy turvy because like if you go into a Warhammer store and you talk to the people, they're gonna show you everything, and they're gonna tell you, we're here for you if you need, all the paint, how to do the figurines and strategies and the books you need. They're gonna be more than happy to help you along in your journey to become, becoming a master Warhammer 40K player. And it's the same, with any sort of endeavor like that. It's what, whether it's that or axe throwing, bowling league, um, a number of these things. They're such warm and welcoming, inviting communities. These sort of niche hobbies that one can partake in, and that's why there's really not much value to pussy. It's just that we don't want to be alone, and it's nice to be able to spend a night or two with someone else. But at the end of the day, is getting pussy as fulfilling as having a dope Warhammer 40K set and being really good at playing Warhammer? I mean, is it? I mean, you gotta ask yourself that. And I don't even know what Warhammer 40K is necessarily yet. I just kind of know some things about the lore, like the warp. They do event horizon rules for traveling through space. That's cool. They got to go through like some hell dimension to travel through space. That rocks. Damn, dude. I fucking love sci-fi. I've been starting to try and read again, which we've been doing on this solo show here on Lost in the Maze. Been doing the Beowulf series, but just pausing that for the time being. But we're gonna come back and finish reading Beowulf. But I've been getting back into reading again. I don't know if you know this, but as far as digital books go, if one is so inclined, if you really want, then all books are free if you want them to be. every single book that exists is free if you want it to be, is what I have to say. And so I've been reading again. I got a bunch of like ebooks on my phone, which I was always hesitant toward. I was as far as e-readers and reading on your phone, I always had this idea in my head that, well, nothing can ever replace and be as good as a book in my hand, the pages in my hand. And I kind of had this realization that, you know, that's just that luddite sort of old way of thinking that, well, this other thing existed long before this thing exists now, so the other thing is better for the way I'm supposed to do it. When in reality, or whatever, in reality, I said that, but what does that mean? I don't know. But anyway, I mean, yeah, the thing is prior to books themselves, that people were just telling, orating stories to each other, or maybe looking at cave paintings or something. And then books came along, and they were like, "Well, this is outrageous. This will never be as good as telling stories with the boys." Being a Greek philosopher and telling these 12-year-old boys sultry, deep thoughts and stories. And then everybody got used to books. People started learning to read, and then a whole publishing industry is born, and we all read books for many, many years. And it is cool. It is nice, to be able to have a nice little paperback that you can walk around with and thumb through, and it's a very tactile sensation, very physical. Feels nice. But that's just what existed forever until the advent of digital e-readers and cell phones and all that kind of stuff. And is it any better or worse than physical books? I don't know. There is an adjustment to be made to reading a book on a screen in that way. I got my phone set to night mode, white on black, white text on black screen, but I don't see like what the big difference is in terms of actually reading it. You know what I mean? The words are the same. The words are the words. It's just a different delivery system. So I mean, honestly, it's much more convenient when I'm taking a shit. I got my phone in my hand anyway. Most of the times I'm taking a good healthy dump. And while I'm there, it's like, oh, I can actually just pull up this book I've been reading and thumb through that instead of like whatever dumb shit I'm looking at on social media. And the bathroom is a nice place for reading no matter what. So it's like now I'm engaged. I'm reading again, taking a shit, and just taking good long like hour and a half shits because I'm finally reading again. I got the phone loaded up with books. I read like a chapter of Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein. So I've seen the movie many, many times, one of my favorites. But I realized I never had read the book. So I got a bunch of sci-fi I'm gonna get through. Neuromancer, um, all that early George R. R. Martin stuff I've been wanting to read, all of it. I got it on my phone. And look, if you gotta have physical books, go for it. I've learned the hard way that that's a lot of fucking heavy shit to keep up with. And if I can read on my phone, if I can compact all of that into this like the digital space, then fine. It's not like they're written on paper, by the way. Whenever any one of these writers actually writes a book, they're not sitting there like writing it out on a pad. And some maybe still use typewriters, gay, just contrived, forced, put upon to be doing that now. But that's okay. Then I guess it is written on paper if that is the case. But almost every fucking writer is writing on a computer or some sort of word processor. So it's like this weird fucking thing that happens where you type you type an entire fucking book on a computer or word processor, send it to the publisher or edit it, they edit it and put it together into a book, and then this thing that has never existed on paper, they have to print onto paper and put and bind it as a book and sell it that way. And then also sell it as, an ebook, Which, by the way, that's why all books are free. By the way, because what fucking goddamn Amazon is charging for a Kindle book is just fuck you. Fuck, hey, you know what, Amazon? Fuck you for doing this. The whole point of me getting the fucking e-reader and trying to do ebooks instead of physical books was that it would save on like actual physical space, and you would think it would be cheaper because there's zero cost, like publishing costs. You don't have to use any paper supplies to print this fucking thing. So you just have infinite space available for these words that have been arranged in a way that is pleasant to me, these books. And no, the fucking Kindle books are just as much as the actual physical books. Okay, well, I'm calling up my good friend Captain Jack Sparrow. We're taking to the high seas on this one. Bum 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 bum. You know, me and my good buddy Captain Jack, couple pirates on the high seas, doing some reading and watching anime. That's also free if you want it to be. Everything that's out there, which is, I mean, everybody's gonna head in that direction again. They solved piracy for a little while, where it was everything was so inaccessible that people would turn to piracy, and so they started aggregating entertainment, making it easier to consume it. Where it was like, okay, having a cable subscription is a pain in the ass, and it's very exclusive, and it's not working anymore. Really, it's not a good business model. So let's do streaming. You pay a monthly fee and you have on demand access to everything you want. Maybe there's some ads. If you don't want ads, pay a little bit more. And the thing we were all worried about happened. Just corporate greed and licensing deals and everything got in the way, and streaming's completely fucking broken now, and it's too cost prohibitive. Everything's scattered. You got to bounce from this app to that app to that app to find the fucking thing you want to watch, and and you're paying for each one of these fucking apps. So it's such a pain. It's such a pain in my rear that it's like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. All the TV shows are free now. How you feel about that? Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime. You want to keep playing these games? There's ads, and I'm paying more money for a shittier product. All right, bum 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 bum. I say, that's it. So there you go. All the TV shows, all the movies are free now. If you want them to be, if you really want them to be, they can be. I hope I brought it on this one. I know I gotta dust the cobwebs off. I haven't been doing the solo shows as diligently because I've been so fucking busy with all this other shit and just stressed and anxious and worried about the future. And so I find myself falling behind on the Lost in the Maze show, but I owe it to everyone to do this for some reason. But we're back, baby. Podcasting's back and better than ever. Anyway, thank you everybody. I'm gonna wrap this one up. A lot of cool shit coming to the Billionaire Podcast Network. Ka-ching, bing, 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 did fill her up. But yeah, thank you. Seriously, thank you everybody for subscribing. Tell everyone about this channel. Help me get subscribers, and I'll help you be entertained through podcasting. I love you. Patreon, go and also subscribe to the Patreon. I love you. Goodbye.
after you've gone and left me crying. After you've gone, there's no denying. You seem blue, you feel sad, Mr. Never. There'll come a time, now don't forget it, baby. There'll come a time when you regret it. Someday, when you grow lonely, your heart will break like mine. You want me only after you've gone. Oh, there's